Wow, Gervonta Davis knocking out Mario Barrios apparently leaves Oscar De La Hoya terrified to make the Ryan Garcia Tank Davis fight. Let's talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you throw a like on this video. Appreciate it. It goes a long way. Link in the description. Let's jump right into the mix. Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, former fighter, former champion, promoter of Ryan Garcia, undefeated fighter, probably the biggest fighter on the Golden Boy roster. Tank Davis, you know, he's the man of the hour, Baltimore's own, son of Baltimore. He has a great performance over Mario Barrios, showed all the tools. Now Oscar De La Hoya is being interviewed, asking if it's ready and if the fight's marinated or whatever word you want to use for Ryan Garcia to step up and fight against Tank Davis. Now, his response is not shocking to me. I told you guys this. To me, it sounds very much like excuses, like De La Hoya does not want to make the fight, but I'll let you guys be the judge. Throw a like on the video. Roll the tape.
Is it time to pull the trigger on that fight, Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think, look, it all depends. I mean, because look.
Very simple question. Is it time to pull the trigger on Ryan Garcia fighting Gervonta Tank Davis? And you hear immediately Oscar De La Hoya begin to stutter like he doesn't know, and he sounds frantic. He said, it all depends. Like, what does it depend on? Ryan Garcia kept saying 2 rounds. Oscar De La Hoya was promoting that too and putting his deuces up. And now Tank Davis looks like a beast. Got a knockout of Barrios at 140. And now De La Hoya, listen to what he says. He said it all depends, but let's keep going.
Is it time to pull the trigger on that fight, Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think, look, it all depends. I mean, because look, I mean, I know for a fact that Gervonta's fight, I think from my sources, did about maybe 50,000 pay-per-view homes and about 40,000 digitals. So you combine that, that's about 90,000 pay-per-views. So I don't know if that fight is maybe ready to be made, but when it is, which maybe can be first quarter of next year.
So right then and there, you can already hear De La Hoya is coming up with a ton of excuses. The question was very simple. Ryan Garcia, is it time to pull the trigger on him fighting Gervonta Davis? And you hear the immediate stuttering, and you hear De La Hoya, look, and then he starts going into numbers. Now, the other thing is, he said Tank put up these mythical numbers that nobody's reporting. He says, I can confirm, or he says, I know for a fact that Gervonta Davis versus Mario Barrios did X, Y, and Z numbers. He said 50,000 plus 40,000 digital, according to my sources. So which one is it? Either you know for a fact the numbers, or according to your sources. So you already see the loopholes, Swiss cheese argument. Second of all, what part of the game is it in boxing where you're being asked as a promoter of Ryan Garcia, undefeated fighter, to face another undefeated fighter, and you automatically defer and deflect to whatever his numbers are? And then you later in this interview, which you guys will hear, say that Ryan Garcia is popular and Tank's popularity is growing. So who cares? Even if what you said was true, which nobody's reporting. ESPN, their reporter, he actually published information saying Tank's numbers were higher. Leonard Ellerby numbers said they were higher. And De La Hoya had nothing to do with this promotion. He says his sources have Tank coming in at 50,000 pay-per-view buys. So you mean to tell me this fight did what Terrence Crawford versus Amir Khan did, but everybody was talking about the fight, and it had a great promotion from Showtime, Mayweather Promotions, and PBC? Where did you get these numbers? Now you look at look at the picture, the screen cap of De La Hoya. He looks like he starts fidgeting and stuff and playing with his ear. It reminds me of, rest in peace to Thomas Michael Ford, on Martin, aka Tommy, when they kept asking Tommy about his job and he didn't really have it. You ain't got no job, man. And Tommy was, every time he was asked about where he works, he would get to lying and he'd be like, Then he got, Oscar De La Hoya got to Tommy from Martin lie. Tank, he did 50,000. He got the and he started fidgeting and finagling and playing with his ear. But let's keep it going. I'll wind it back so you guys could hear it.
Digital, so you combine that's about 90,000 pay-per-views. So I don't know if that fight is maybe ready to be made, but when
I don't know if that fight is maybe ready to be made.
it is, which maybe can be first quarter of next year. First quarter of next year is not that far along. I think it gives everybody time to prepare for it.
Gives everybody time to prepare for it. So that makes no sense. Tank Davis just fought, right? So obviously a big fight like Ryan Garcia, he's not going to immediately go into it ASAP. He has to take some time with his family and rest and spend time with his daughter, etc. So this is more excuses from Oscar De La Hoya, who sounds absolutely terrified to make the Ryan Garcia Gervonta Davis match. I don't know if he's in between DAZN and Triller, so he already lost Canelo. These are things that you have to consider. He lost Canelo, which is the biggest star Golden Boy had. So with Canelo being out the picture and being his own boss and more of a free agent and no longer having ties to Golden Boy, the next in line is the youngest in charge, who doesn't have Canelo level experience, maybe not even the skills of Canelo. I think most people would say at this point, Ryan is not as skilled as Canelo. So it looks like De La Hoya is protecting. Now, this also coincides with Leonard Ellerbe, what he had to say. He says that he believes the fight can happen, but they already reached out to Golden Boy, and Golden Boy said that Ryan had another fight. Was that fight Javier Fortuna? Because that's exactly the fight that I told you wasn't going to happen, which we now know is not happening because Ryan pulled out with anxiety. So if he's pulling out of fights with Javier Fortuna, who's a damn good fighter, but no Tank Davis in terms of power and style and whatnot and experience as a pro, and wins, then imagine the anxiety that Ryan Garcia must go through if the Gervonta fight was made. So this is just not really a great look. I'm gonna wind it back.
First quarter of next year is not that far along. I think it gives everybody time to prepare for it.
He says the first quarter of next year could be good for the Gervonta Ryan Garcia. Why? We're 6 months into this month or to this year. Why do we gotta wait till 2021? And it's funny because old media, when it's a fight like, let's say, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, old media, they're in this rush when Errol Spence has a lot of great fights on his side of the street, namely the one he's gonna fight in August with Manny Pacquiao. I beat Oscar De La Hoya, right? And every old media's in this rush to make these fights, and now all of a sudden they're gonna be okay with Oscar De La Hoya saying, let's push it off, let's wait. Again, Tank Davis, he's not gonna be fighting this month or next month. He just fought. Ryan Garcia just pulled out of his fight with anxiety, so we know that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen ASAP. Ryan hasn't even fought. Why has he gotta wait until 2022 unless y'all not ready? Let's keep it going.
Because Gervonta's getting more popular, he's getting recognized more, he's fighting like a beast.
So once again, Swiss cheese argument. De La Hoya saying Tank is getting more recognized, he's fighting like a beast, and he's saying he's getting more popular. But then you said his numbers did substantially worse versus Barrios, which conflicts with the reports from Steven Espinoza, who's the head of Showtime, right? Showtime Sports, right? And it conflicts with ESPN's numbers and Leonard Ellerbe's numbers, but you're admitting that Tank is getting more popular. So which one is it? He did X amount of numbers versus Leo Santa Cruz, and you're saying he's getting more popular, but then at the beginning of the interview, you said that Tank did these imaginary numbers that no one else is reporting. De La Hoya has his own secret stash of numbers. I've made videos about all this. Man, it's looking bad for him.
Ryan Garcia, we all know he has a super crazy, fan base.
So this looks bad. He said Ryan Garcia, we all know he has a super crazy fan base. What does that have to do with the fight? Tank has a fan base, Ryan has a fan base. It doesn't sound like confidence to me.
And he's getting better. We have to let him, kind of like recover a bit from what's taking place with him. We have to.
He said we have to let Ryan recover. Does this sound like somebody that wants to make the fight? Let me know in the comment section. He says we have to let Ryan recover. From what? Anxiety? He seems pretty well recovered. He said Devin Haney would have knocked Devin Haney out because Linares clipped him, a guy that Ryan was supposed to fight. This is all in shambles, FYI. So Ryan Garcia should have fought Jorge Linares. He didn't. Golden Boy never made the fight. Instead, they gave it to a black fighter, Devin Haney, and Devin Haney looked exceptional, minus that 10 seconds in the 10th round where he got buzzed. But needless to say, he won majority of the 12 rounds, if not every round, even including that. And De La Hoya Bob Arum told Devin the fight's on top 12. So Ryan not fighting Fortuna, not fighting Pacquiao like he said. Tank fight gotta wait. Devin Haney fight can't be made, even though they're both on DAZN. I mean, this just looks bad. And then now he's saying Ryan gotta recover from what? Like he's a drug addict. Like, what does he have to recover from? He's already on Twitch doing the body shot challenge. What is there to recover from? It's not like he got in a car accident or, God forbid, got shot in the leg or something like Jose Benavidez. What are you talking about? He has to recover.
Recover a bit from what's taking place with him. We have to respect that. So I think first quarter of next year, I think a big fight like that can happen.
So first quarter of next year, you guys tell me what it is. It looks like zero. I repeat, zero goose egg confidence from Golden Boy and Team Ryan Garcia making these fights like Devin Haney, especially Gervonta Davis. We knew the Pacquiao fight was going to happen, or at least that's what I told you. Let me know if you feel different. Please put a detailed comment because I think it's pretty obvious to see. De La Hoya is talking about it marinating and trying to lie and say Tank did different numbers. I mean, come on, you know what it is. We working.